Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 805, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbprou.com.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is Andrew Frazier, and welcome to Leadership Live at 805, Talking Small Business. Excited about hanging out with you again this evening, and really have some special guests today. You know, usually we just have one guest, but tonight we got two. So tonight's show is going to be twice as good. And our topic is transforming productivity through delegation. In this day and age, it's more and more important to continually increase productivity. And as a leader of an organization, it's important for you to have the time to focus on the most important tasks for moving your business forward. But many times we struggle with time management. And one of the key ways that you can get your time back is through effective delegation. And also that can transform your organization in many other ways and brings on many other benefits that you hadn't even thought about. So tonight's topic, transforming productivity through delegation. As you know, my most recent book is the Masterpreneur Playbook, and we really outline the 5 steps to go from startup to scaling your business. These are the 5 steps. And what we're talking about today is really going from working in your business to working on your business. So going from step 2 to step 3, which is actually one of the most difficult steps. And most business owners don't, more than 95% of business owners don't successfully make that step. And a big reason is you have to continue to evolve. You have to evolve from an employee or supervisor to a manager. And delegation is an important part of becoming a manager. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. That's how it can help you with your business. So tonight's guests, like I mentioned, we have 2. We've got Dr. Ramlall and also Amit. And we're going to be talking about small business. So let me welcome them to the show. Welcome. How are you guys doing tonight?
We are great. How are you, Andrew?
I'm excellent. So where are you located? Where are we communicating from?
So Amit and I are based in Edmonton and work with people around the world, from this city of 1 million people in Alberta, Canada.
Okay, excellent. I mean, technology is amazing. That you could do stuff like this and work with so many people. So I know you've done some great things. I wouldn't do justice to introducing you. So I'm going to ask you guys to take a few minutes to sort of introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And thank you very much for having us on the show, Andrew. So
Okay.
I'm Kumar Ramlall.
And I'm Amit.
Yeah. And one of the main reasons that there is two of us here tonight is that Amit had autism and types on this card, and he'll explain a little bit more about it. Together, we are human behavior advisors, and we do consultations for mostly business owners and executive teams, helping them solve the people problems that arise above HR. So that's what we were doing until the last few years, when we are actually helping with the step after what Andrew talked about, which is after you've grown and scaled your business, you're going to exit it someday. And so we are helping business owners exit their businesses, either helping them sell, or we are in the process of buying them too. So that's my part. Hello, Andrew. Thank you very much for having us on. As my dad said, I had autism that still affects my independent speech. That is why I type on this card. So this is an alphabet card for those of you just on audio. And Amit is typing on the card, and I'm reading what he says. I use this card to help me speak, much as some use glasses to help them see. That's all. One of the things that autism gifted to me that is very relevant to tonight's discussion is that I had a hunger to navigate this maze that was autism. I had a hunger to understand human awareness, human achievement, frankly. I wanted to know what made us humans tick, what made us relate. That led to a journey understanding us, people, and understanding how we made stuff happen. Business is one of those ways, and I'm sure we will get into that some more, Andrew.
Definitely. So thanks for the intro. Definitely whenever you have a business, it evolves over time. So it's interesting how you started out, with problem solving, with problem employees, and you probably learned a lot, taught a lot, but as you progressed, your business changes. My business changes probably every 3 or 4 years, like totally something different. I'm still working with entrepreneurs and business owners, but from coaching to consulting to training, it evolves along with your market and your customers. So,
and through your university, you are able to scale your impact. You are doing exactly what you are teaching others to do, aren't you?
Definitely. I believe that you have to demonstrate. People learn more by seeing than by hearing. So and it's not fair for me to expect tell people to do something if I can't do it myself, and I'm not doing it. So definitely, and I know that you've scaled to where you have a huge impact as well. So we definitely want to get into that as we go. So starting out, just to give a little background. So now with your business now, what would you say the key and most important thing you do for clients, and why is it that that's what you're best at doing and people choose you to do it for them?
So we have a keen appreciation for what makes the individual tick, and understanding of how it is that we make our greatest difference. And we leverage that with the individual leader, employee, and now have an opportunity to leverage that within a business, either one that we consult for or that we acquire. And as we do this, we are reminded that one of the most important things any business can do is create value for the customer.
Okay, definitely. It's all about value and being able to deliver results. We're going to dig into that a lot more.
Yeah.
But before we do that, I do this show through the Small Business Pro University, and probably be good for people to know what the Small Business Pro University is. So I've got a short video. Right after that, we're going to be back talking with Amit and Kumar Ramlall about really how to transform productivity through delegation. See you in a sec. Many small businesses experience low or no revenue growth, and the owners are not making enough money. I founded the Small Business Pro University to help business owners break that cycle by empowering them with greater knowledge and enhanced skills to lead their companies more effectively. Over the past 15 years, I've worked one-on-one with more than 1,000 business owners and taught tens of thousands of people about business. My experience includes serving as a Navy officer, graduating from MIT, earning an MBA from NYU, and achieving the CFA designation. Small Business Pro University empowers entrepreneurs like you to run their businesses more professionally and create sustainable enterprises. Small Business Pro University provides access to valuable resources, partnerships, and relationships that will help you to grow revenue, increase profit, and obtain financing faster and easier. Our Masterpreneur initiatives include more than 100 expert-led multimedia courses and training programs with more than 2,500 lessons. The Small Business Pro Network, our private community for entrepreneurs. Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, our weekly live stream and podcast. Advanced Learning Institutes focused on revenue generation, profit maximization, and capital acquisition. And the Power Breakfast series, in-person events where business owners learn best practices, enjoy great networking, and gain useful knowledge. If you want to sell more and make more, you need to check out Small Business Pro University. Visit our website at www.sbprou.com. Okay. Good evening. Welcome back to Leadership Live at Talking Small Business. We're talking about transforming productivity through delegation. But, as a business owner, as a business leader, the key is developing relationships with people, understanding people, being able to, as Dale Carnegie says, make friends and influence people. That's really the key. And one thing that's valuable is a different perspective. Diversity can be extremely valuable, but diversity can be hard to manage. So if you get diversity right and can manage effectively, you'll get far superior results than if you don't have diversity. And being different allows you to have a different perspective and see things differently and understand things differently. And I think that's something that that you both bring to the table. And could you talk a little bit about how you may look at the world differently and some of the things you may see or that you notice that other people might not notice?
Well, one of the most important things that I do differently is that I am constantly seeking the rules by which we operate. And I would make the case that leaders are people too. How about that for something profound?
Okay.
And leaders as people, as individuals, means that they follow some natural laws.
Okay. So, definitely, understanding leaders and leadership's key and their people as well. I'm a fan of Michael Gerber from the E-Myth. You're probably familiar with him as well. And, one of the things he says is that you can't manage people, but you can manage systems. So with systems that can, manage people and incentivize people in the right ways to get the right results.
Well, one of the chief aims of the organization is to create value, as we said. And one of the ways of doing that is by increasing productivity. We will argue that increasing productivity does mean focusing on the highest value tasks, because you are well aware, and I am confident have witnessed CEOs investing their time on low priority jobs and devaluing the entire company as a result. Gary Keller was famous for asking a room of entrepreneurs, how much is your calendar worth? And they would look flabbergasted and talk about the cost of their diary or smartphone. And he would say, how much did you or your company make last year? That is the value of your calendar. That is how much you value your time. The process of delegation is really about valuing your time, yours and those to whom you delegate, isn't it?
Okay. Excellent. So, you work with businesses and you start to see patterns. I definitely see that with a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners. And, a lot of times you see a lot of the same challenges or issues. And, you talked about, focusing on the highest value tasks. Sometimes they don't know what the highest value tasks are. I always ask people, what's your most important job as a business owner? And I get all kinds of answers, but usually not the right answer, which is sales and marketing. Because if you're not selling and marketing, you don't have a business. So that's something you need to do every day and get as good as possible at. And I'm sure same, you work with leaders, there's probably a couple things or one thing that, what would you say are the most valuable things that they should be spending their time on?
Well, one of the most important things we find ourselves helping the owner with is simply making a list of what's on their plate. So many of us as entrepreneurs ourselves don't recognize what is taking up the space in our mind, what is potentially distracting us from those priorities. As you make that list of what is on your plate, we suggest a few categories. First is, what do you perceive as your primary job? As you said, Andrew, one of those jobs as leader is around marketing and sales. But there might be others. Then there are those items that are important, but you don't yet perceive them as part of your primary job. There is the long list of should do's that many of us as consultants add to their list. And finally, there are those parts that the leader loves to do. Sometimes the burnout that we see in leaders is not that they are necessarily doing so much, but they don't get to do, in their view, the things that they love to do.
Okay, cool.
Some
Oh, yeah.
business owners have taken away from themselves the very connection with people that got them into business in the first place, as an example.
Okay. So, yeah, so definitely, those are key things. A little dig at the consultants. Definitely consultants could give you more tasks.
Includes us, doesn't it?
Of course, which is cool. So actually, one of our viewers, Jack Cox, can be happy because he's a CPA, and he claims I always, talk bad about CPAs. So, so see, it's not just CPAs. So I like the list because a lot of business owners are task oriented. They're used to completing stuff, and but also it helps you see how many things you're doing. You have to decide, what you can do, what you can't do, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And also, like you mentioned, there's things you need to be doing that you probably don't even know. And so, figuring all that out, a lot of times, to have the perspective to do that, you need insights from others. So, that's where coaching, consulting, counseling, personal board of directors, networking, whatever you do is valuable, because your business can only go as far as you're prepared to take it. So if you don't continue to develop and learn and focus on the right things, that's going to hurt your business. So, definitely that's key. Now, there's a lot of different things that makes a leader, but there's a few key skills and characteristics that tend to be, required to be a successful leader. What would you say they are, and why is each of them so important?
Well, I'm reminded of Tom Peters, who said, leaders don't create followers. They create other leaders. And that actually brings up a couple of important points. The first is that in some way, one of the greatest jobs of a leader is to recognize the value that their team members bring. Because it is by recognizing the value of those individuals where they can most shine that we get an opportunity to uplift them. As we get more into delegation, we're going to talk a little bit about what it is that the root words of delegation in some ways have to do with passing down. And in the meaning of passing down, we think that something is lost. And here's what we think is lost. That is that when you delegate, there is an opportunity, and we would argue an important imperative to look at ways in which you can delegate up, delegate to others who are more effective, more equipped to do that job than you are, where it offers more advantage to your organization to having them do it than you do it. They might be more equipped, for instance, because they have greater skill. They might because they cost your company less than you do. They might because they are inspired to do that job when you are not. For your friend, the CPA, many of them are inspired to delve into finances in a way that many entrepreneurs are not.
So,
By recognizing them and their unique gifts, we get the leverage of using them in the highest possible way, honoring them by using them. Delegating to specialists in this fashion increases their value, your value, the company's value, and we dare say the transferable value to the customer. Therein lies the profits, doesn't it?
Okay, excellent. So yeah, I mean, definitely, that's key. We're going to get more into this with delegation, but definitely creating other leaders is key because within your organization, if you're going to move up, you're going to need someone to move into your space and deliver.
And in line with what you do, you are going to require learning.
Yeah.
One of the hallmarks of the great leaders in business is them constantly asking, what don't I know? What am I missing? Where am I wrong?
Definitely, that type of reflection and focus is key. We're going to take another break. I mean, we're covering some important stuff. We're going to come back and talk more about, delegating and what it does and how it works. So we're going to take a 1-minute break, check out a video. For those of you in New Jersey, I do an event a few times a year for entrepreneurs and business owners, the Power Breakfast, and our next one's coming up March 22nd. Here's a little bit about it. Are you an entrepreneur or business owner? If so, you need to check out the Power Breakfast. The Power Breakfast is New Jersey's premier business networking event for entrepreneurs. The Power Breakfast is a unique forum for learning best practices, enjoying great networking, and gaining useful knowledge. Over the past 10 years, we have hosted more than 1,500 attendees who have directly benefited with revenue growth and financing. Join me at the next Power Breakfast event on March 22nd in the clubhouse at Galloping Hill Golf Course in Kenilworth, New Jersey. Jimmy Newsom, the Impact Influencer, is our featured guest speaker, and his topic is how digital transformation can increase profitability for small business.
I'm Jimmy Newsom, known as the Impact Influencer, influencing other small business owners to get the things done that matter the most to them, working on strategy, looking at the big picture, because that's where we find our true north to move forward. So I'm the founder of Moving Forward Small Business. We're on a mission to save a million as one of the strategies you could be focusing on for let's just say 2024.
I look forward to seeing you at the Power Breakfast on March 22nd. All right, good evening. Welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. I'm here with Kumar and Amit Ramlall. We've got two people here tonight. Definitely father and son team in business together. Each session, we have a lot of great things. And just Amit is actually speaking to us with his hands. So, I guess, Kumar, if you want to sort of show what you're doing and how he's communicating with us.
So this is an alphabet card. It's actually, I jokingly say it's a 50-cent piece of cardboard and laminated plastic. And with that, Amit has written thousands of pages of manuscript, white papers that started a consulting company. So he types in a card and I pull his fingers away from the card. And that's because one of the leftovers of having had autism is something called perseveration, where you tend to do the same activity over and over again, even though your mind has gone on to the next thing. Boy, where do we business owners perseverate ourselves?
So definitely.
Before we move on, I am intrigued about your coming breakfast session with Jimmy.
Okay.
And here's why. In fact, when we talked about delegation, we discussed that traditionally and etymologically, delegation refers to handing tasks down. And we talked about how you can hand tasks up. And in terms of handing tasks up, in terms of giving that job to a specialist, we would propose that some of those specialists can be what I affectionately call other than human. So there is human delegate and other than human delegate.
Definitely.
I am betting that Jimmy will talk more about this other than human delegate. For ourselves, we help clients see that there are at least 3 forms of other than human. The first is quite simple, and we can all use this, which is template delegation.
Mhm.
So I do relatively little of this now, but in my one of my other lives, I'm a specialist physician, and I've used template delegation to help tens of thousands of people and make several $1 million over the years by increasing the level of service, the level of care, the safety to the patient, the quality of communication to the referring doctor. Simple templates. The next is process delegation. And Andrew, you, I suspect, watching at some of the courses you offer, are an expert at helping leaders implement this process form of delegation through SOPs, systems, etc. The third, which we would propose, is gaining prominence very, very quickly, is tech automation.
Mm-hmm.
There are technologies in basically every industry where they are the specialists at what they do.
Definitely. And there's so many tools out there that were never available before.
Mhm.
And especially as a small business owner, your time is limited, your team is limited. So being able to learn about these and implement them. I use so many tools, just from 3 or 4 years ago, that I'm at least twice as productive, if not more.
Yeah.
And then also able to make my team a lot more productive.
Just StreamYard, as we are using right now, enhances your efficiency, doesn't it?
Definitely. I used to use Zoom, but StreamYard is so much better. And then I've got AI tools and other things I use with my live stream and podcast after the fact that that are amazing. So that's key. You mentioned Jimmy, and actually it's interesting because he's actually already talked about that, because he was my first live stream guest this year. So on January 2nd, he talked about 3 key strategies for utilizing AI in 2024, because it's so important as a small business owner, being able to have knowledge of that and take advantage of it. So you're right on there.
Some have called this, I will think of the author, but they called it the second machine revolution.
Yes. So and I guess the second machine revolution was forecasted many times, but this is the first one that really feels like that.
The second machine age. Eric Brynjolfsson and Andrew McPhee.
Okay.
Machine age.
Yeah. So definitely, we had blockchain, but for small business owners, it was supposed to be great. I didn't really see how it helped me, or in my clients. And you got the metaverse. It's been a little good, for some businesses, but not for a lot of others. Actually, our show goes out on the metaverse for STEM City USA. It's a really good platform for hosting virtual events, virtual conferences. But for other stuff, it may or may not be as valuable, but every single business could benefit from utilizing AI, and probably is to some extent just within systems that they already are using and may not even know it.
No. Wouldn't want to leave this topic, though, of handing up to others without addressing the human delegate.
Of course. So now,
and with regard to that, we think the most important part that is frequently neglected in the human delegate is helping them find meaning in the task. Here's one way of considering that. Handing off a task is to another human is very challenging and much more fraught with risk if they can't see what's in it for them. And so many times on delegation sheets, even from some very prominent business teachers, don't address this aspect of what is in it for them, specifically for the delegate. And I propose that it is the delegator's job to help the delegate see what's in it for them.
Definitely. And even, another piece of the delegator's job is to make it more important to them. Having
value to their lives. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And having been in the military, you learn a few things about leadership. And 2 of the key lessons that I took away is, 1, management by walking around. So, if you're out there seeing stuff, they want to look like they're doing stuff. So that gives them a little extra incentive to do a good job. And then just inspecting what you expect. If they know they're going to have to report out or communicate about it, it's more likely that they're going to do it and do it well, as opposed to just assigning something and then coming back later and wanting. Part of the process, is things that you can do directly to influence, and then also, what do they want long term? So yeah, you got to be creative as a manager to really be able to delegate and communicate effectively.
And along the way, recognize that there may well be some training that is required.
Definitely.
And once trained, help the delegate to understand that you are now entrusting them with that task.
So definitely. And one thing you got to keep in mind, as a manager, once you start delegating, it takes a different skill set to be able to do that effectively. And you really have to sort of become a coach. You have to be able to coach people as opposed to managing them if you want them to manage the process. I work with a lot of business owners trying to get them past that step because they're so used to managing stuff and telling people what to do and saying what the answer is. But if you delegate it, you got to let the person manage it. So if you tell them what to do, they're going to do what you told them. But you really want that, but then they're going to blame you if it doesn't work. But you want to make them say, this is what the solution is, and this is what I'm going to do, and coach them, ask them questions, make sure they're going in the right direction, because people hate to be micromanaged, and that's part of the piece. But you talked about
just one other point to build on something you have said, and that is for the delegator to know and practice the difference between abdicating the job and delegating the job. There is a feedback loop that is required for a delegated job, and it is preferable that not be only at the conclusion. But you have witnessed some of the consequences of waiting till the end or the deadline as examples.
Definitely. So, of course, time goes really fast because we're coming up on the hour. But there's a few things. There's a couple more things I want to ask you, and then before we close out. But one of the key things we talk about is I'm sure you're familiar with the 4 boxes. You got urgent, important, and side by side. So of course they say in the first box, if it's urgent and unimportant, then I'm gonna get it wrong. Well, let's put it this way.
We can discuss that.
All right, I'll let you guys explain.
On our mind to talk about, you are describing, Andrew, the Eisenhower grid that was popularized by Stephen Covey. it's that famous 2x2 table. In terms of rows, there is important and not important. And the columns are urgent and not urgent. Traditionally, something got lost in the translation when Covey took this from Eisenhower. And it still pervades us entrepreneurs to this day. And that is that the jobs to which we shall direct our attention are the category A jobs, urgent and important. That is antithetical to what Eisenhower himself said. He said that which is important is seldom urgent, and that which is urgent is seldom important. And he argued that it was a relative failure of leadership that there are so many urgent and important fires to put out. He argued that we would be wiser to set up systems, scheduled systems, such that important things can be done non-urgently. I'm reminded of trying to prevent a heart attack urgently and importantly versus nutrition and exercise scheduled and accomplished over time. For a simpler example, try building 6-pack abs doing 1,000 crunches in one day.
Okay. So definitely, but they do have those machines now that'll do them for you with the electricity. but no, I think what you say.
Category C was where delegation shines. Those are the not important but urgent. We can train others, put systems in place to handle those. The last box is another place where something was lost as this method was popularized by Covey. And that was the not important and not urgent. Many just dump those. But remember, in Eisenhower's world, it just meant not important for you to do. Not urgent for you to do. Not don't need to be done.
Okay, definitely, so cool. So, I think, I spent a lot of time focusing on, getting people to focus on what's important and not urgent. I mean, I think as business owners, it's really hard to sit back and do that. So when I sit down with people, that's one of the areas I focus on, is helping make sure they're doing that. But maybe you can help me, because I came up with what I do, but it's not really good for marketing. So I tell them I make your business boring because you don't have all these urgent things, but that's not really good for marketing. I'll come make your business boring. So any thoughts?
Well, it's a matter of getting back to why have a business in the first place. Many have been criticized for saying that one of the purposes of business is to generate profit. We don't think there is anything wrong with profit. One of the bigger goals, though, is transferable value, remember. And ultimately, your business, properly structured, can have transferable value. That is what we help our business seller clients realize. And when we buy businesses and grow them ourselves, that is what we are looking to enhance also. That transferable value. Do you want, Mr. or Miss Entrepreneur, to have bought yourself a job, albeit can be a high-paying job for your days? Or would you like for there to be some harvest when you are done sowing and cultivating? Many want that harvest after. It is only with that kind of time horizon that entrepreneurs start to release the, frankly, addiction to their prowess at putting out fires.
Because, a lot of times people, are focused on moving as fast as you can. But, I guess the African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, go with others. And sometimes it may take a little bit longer to get started. But, once you get started, it's sustainable, which is key. So
the structures and systems that you help them build, Andrew, are precisely the kinds of things that build transferable value that we work with at the transition points, the inflection points of business ownership.
Okay, excellent. So before we go, well, we since we're not on the network, we can steal a couple minutes. But before we go, I always like to have guests really just share the three most important things that we should take away from today's conversation. We talked about a lot of stuff, but a lot of times you can only remember three things. So, what are three things that we should be doing starting tomorrow based on what we discussed? So I'll give you a minute to think about that. We'll play a quick video about my most recent book, The Masterpreneur Playbook, and then we'll be back talking small business and closing out today's evening. So we'll see you in a sec. Most businesses are not growing, could be more profitable, and have cash flow issues due to lack of capital. What if you knew the secret to generating revenue, maximizing profitability, and acquiring capital when you need it.
I'm Andrew Frazier, and I have developed a proven 5-step framework to take you from startup to scaling faster and easier.
I laid it all out in the Masterpreneur Playbook. It's available now in both English and Spanish on Amazon, Audible, and my website, sbprou.com. Get your copy today to start selling more and making more sooner. All right, good evening. As we're getting ready to close out our show tonight, topic was transforming productivity through delegation. Our guests, Amit and Kumar Ramlall. And, they're just going to share 3 key things that you should take away from what we talked about tonight and can actually start implementing tomorrow within your business to help you become more successful.
This was a great conversation, Andrew. And as we think of the steps, the leader, the owner can take tomorrow, the first is recognizing what's on your plate. It takes a pen and piece of paper. What are all of those tasks, those jobs taking up mind space for you? And recognize that among those, there are some that are going to be meaningful to you. And protect your access to those tasks to energize yourself. Second, we talked about the Eisenhower grid. And while so much of the efforts of the entrepreneur are dedicated to urgent and important matters, this putting out of fires does not focus on one of the key things that a business can do for you, which is to grow transferable value. To do that, it would be wise to focus on some of those important, critically important, but not urgent matters. Thirdly, we addressed what many thought was all this show was going to be about: delegation itself. We talked about technology, templates, processes, and finally, for the human delegate, we have one key piece of advice. It is an important part of your job as the delegator to help your delegate see what's in it for them. Just as you would for your customer when you focus on marketing and sales. It would be most wise to focus on that for the delegate. Then remember the difference between abdication and delegation. Keep your tabs on. Andrew, this has been a privilege to be here with you.
Okay.
And we would love if your audience, if they are into stress testing their thinking, if they would connect with us on chintanproject.com.
Okay. Excellent. So no, thank you as well. I think those three things are key. Knowing what's on your plate. A lot of things times you think you know, but you don't fully have an appreciation for it until you write it down. That's just like when I talk to people about business plans. They're like, yeah, I got my business plan in my head. Well, that's not really a good business plan to have it in your head. So same with that, definitely writing things down is key. Focusing on the important but not urgent. They always say a stitch in time saves 9. So if you focus on things before they become a problem, then it keeps you from having urgent things. And that's part of planning and strategy. And then you talked about a whole bunch of tools. Use tools. There's things that can help you, whether it's technology, templates, processes, and like you said, always remember that people only listen to one radio station. That's WIIFM. What's in it for me? So this has been great, a pleasure. Thanks for joining me. Hang out for a little bit. I'm just going to close out, and then we'll chat for a little bit after. Okay. All right. Great.
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay. Thank you. And also, I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Appreciate your comments. For those of you who didn't join us live, but get a chance to see it afterwards, I hope that you found what was shared today was valuable, because definitely these are things that can help you become a better leader. And since your business can only go as far as you're prepared to take it, it's very important to develop your leadership skills. And that's why we have this show in the first place, for you. So each week we have great guests. And then next week, I'll just give you a quick preview. We're going to talk about unleashing your entrepreneurial potential with Jay Abdulaziz. And, this gentleman has done some great things. And we talk about sales and marketing being your most important job. He's someone that excels at that. So I'm looking forward to really chatting with him about how he does that and how we can become better at selling, because the more you sell, the more you make, and the more successful your business is in terms of growing and creating more opportunities for you and for others. So definitely looking forward to next week. Hope that you're able to join us as well. Really at the end of the day, the more that you know, the more successfully and faster your business will grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.